Community members from the 16th Council District came out to learn more about tenants' rights at the 3rd Annual Housing Conference held here at the Bronx Museum of the Arts. The Tenant Block and Neighborhood Council, in a collaborative effort with State Senator Jose Serrano, State Assembly Member Latoya Joyner, and City Council Member Vanessa Gibson, brought together a panel of experts to discuss the state of housing in the Bronx.
We have a panel of experts, of organizations, agencies, and advocates to talk about housing, how we can empower tenants with, understanding education and knowing their rights as a tenant, knowing what they're entitled to as a tenant living in our city. We're going to talk about affordability. We're going to talk about lots of things, gentrification, obviously, the push out, price out. We're going to talk about solutions and ways in which we can really encourage residents to apply for housing, some of the barriers we face. We know that, homelessness is a crisis, so we want to make sure we talk about investing in long-term affordable housing that's quality for residents of this great city.
From rising rent prices to gentrification to tenants' rights, speakers answered questions from community members about the future of their neighborhoods.
There's a lot of information out there, but the problem is for everyday residents, it's harder to understand how it affects them. So I think an event like this, why it's so important, is to connect everyday residents to the information, which sometimes is complicated and convoluted, and it's important to help residents understand that they are entitled to affordable housing and that the information is out there, and whether it's language or just the simple knowledge that they need to access it, we're here to help them.
In a rapidly changing city, the Bronx has become the last affordable place to live, with rent prices well below those of its sister boroughs. Developers have been knocking at the door, and the housing conference was a forum to help Bronxites voice their concerns.
The increase of rent here in the Bronx, as you know, the Bronx is one of the communities that are still very low in rent, and that is partially due to the rent guidelines of it being sustained. And we want to make sure that it continues to stay at that level and not have the increase where it's unaffordable, where tenants are being pushed out.
The 3rd Annual Housing Conference is just the beginning as the city, state, and community adjust and try to find common ground.
The big message for me today is to understand your rights as a tenant. I want to tell everyone across the city that affordable housing is a right and it's not a luxury. Every tenant in our city deserves to live in affordable and quality housing. And through this housing conference, we hope to empower and equip residents with more knowledge so they can make better informed decisions.
Reporting for BronxNet, I'm Christina Pagan.